Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren and today we're doing something a little different. I was not tagged in this series, but I saw Chloe Taylor do it and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. That looks like so much fun. And this was basically a series of questions put out by the magical community here on YouTube for other magical creators to kind of like throw in their 2 cents, talk about their YouTube channels. So it's a little bit about like me as a psychic development coach. A lot also about like YouTube and content creation and like how I market myself here on YouTube. So if that's not up your alley, maybe check me out in the next video. But I really like talking about YouTube. I really like talking about the marketing process. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've also been a filmmaker. I am a filmmaker. I went to film school. So this is kind of my story. I will say that this is kind of geared towards more of like the witchcraft community, the magical community. I would say like I'm dipping my toes in there. I'm not like fully there, but a lot of what I do has a lot of crossover. So some of these questions are kind of geared towards that. So just a preface. And if you ever look at the other people that are doing this trend, you will also kind of get into that realm. So first question, what is your channel name and the significance behind it? It is Psychic Lauren. The significance behind it is mostly that it's my name. But if you watch some of my earlier videos, I danced around calling myself a psychic for a very long time. Not a super long time. But in my courses, in the training that I took, a lot of people were very hesitant to call themselves psychics. They wanted to use the word intuitives because it was a little bit more palatable. And so for a long time, like my brand used to be called Lauren's Intuitive Services. But it was just like a mouthful. And it was like, what does that mean? But then I very quickly realized, like I am a psychic, there's a lot of like stereotypes around that, but a lot of the content that I create here is about overcoming those stereotypes. It's about shedding the light on like what psychics really are and are not. And so I wanted to set an example for all the other psychics out there that you can call yourself that, you can claim that power, claim that name. And so I switched it to just being psychic, and then I put my name at the end, Psychic Lauren, and wham bam, easy peasy. All right, next question is, what type of content do you create on your channel? A lot of my content is actually like how-to videos. I'm talking to you about how to do something. So it's actually a little bit different than a lot of the other psychics on YouTube because they're mostly putting out readings. But I'm actually like, I fall more in the educational sphere. So a lot more people find me through like searches. Obviously I do put up readings. Like I used to do live readings a lot more. And I have like pick a card readings. And so that is kind of like a different branch of videos that I create. But most of what I do, I'm teaching, and that's the Virgo in me. I love consuming content and teaching other people because one, it helps me remember how to do something, and then two, I really just love helping people understand their psychic abilities. So most of my videos are me sitting down talking at you about a certain subject. I do like to make vlogs every now and then about my like personal life. Those just don't perform as well, so I don't do them as much, but I love doing them. And then pick a cards. And really the goal there is that I have kind of like short and sweet videos so you can get to know me, get to know my style, my philosophy. And then I have video courses that you can there go and purchase so that you can really like understand the content even more. But most of my videos are about learning about the psychic ability. I found that there was a huge void of that on the internet when I was going through my psychic development courses. And I was like, somebody needs to be talking about this. How do you understand clairvoyance? How do you connect with dead people? Like, how does this work? And so to me, my content, I tried to, towards the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. But now I've realized that's what I like doing. I like teaching about how to embrace your psychic abilities, and so that's the majority of my content is me talking about that or helping you. Like even my pick a card readings, I've floated into like how to connect with your mediumship abilities, how to get unstuck, how to get more psychic messages. Next question, what inspired you to start your channel? Again, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I saw just a huge void on the internet of no information around psychic development. There's a lot of people that are psychics that will like make a video here and there of like, what are your psychic abilities? Or, they'll try to kind of like talk to it. But I was always disappointed and it didn't kind of match up with my own philosophies. So it was a lot wanting to fill that need and that hole. And it was also understanding like how lucky I was to have the education that I had. When I was wanting to become psychic, like I had so many classes around me, so many teachers, so many in-person things. I was very lucky. I got to go through this program called the Aspen Program for Psychic Development, and it was in person every single weekend for like almost a whole year. And I got to read volunteers. My teacher brought in volunteers. There would be like probably 10 to 15 students in each class. I would be reading students, I'd be reading volunteers, I'd be getting real one-on-one practice. My teacher gave us homework. She gave us, not tests, but like we had to kind of like pass certain like things and like kind of do readings, do longer and longer readings, or do this or that so that we could get certified. It wasn't just like fluffy one class. It was a series of classes that we had to complete. Like it was a legit school. It was a curriculum. She wrote it. She wrote curriculums for the government, for like normal schools. So she knew what she was doing. She knew how people learned. And so she was really good. This is Karen Fox. I don't know if I said this. She was really good at giving out homework, helping people to understand and learn the content, practice it hands-on. And again, anyway, it was just amazing, and I was so lucky. When the program stopped, it's not out there anymore. People ask me all the time. You can get the books for it, but when the program stopped, I was like, this content is so important, and I'm so lucky to have it. And if I didn't have it and I had these abilities turn on, like what would I have done? And I know that that's the case for a lot of people, is that they experience these things, they're freaked out, they don't know what to do, and they find my channel. And so I feel very grateful to help people in that way. And that's a huge reason of like why I do the videos that I do here. How long have I been on YouTube as a content creator? I think I've technically started my channel in 2017. But I was like nowhere consistent, just uploading for funsies. Yeah, nothing more to it. I think I didn't get serious about my channel until about 2019. That's when I started uploading regularly, going live, sitting down and being like, okay, I actually really want to do this, and I want this to be like my full-time thing. So I would say more 2019 is when I started it. I will say though, again, I was a filmmaker first, and I still am technically. And I had a production company with my husband. We had employees, and we worked with people that did YouTube content. We worked with people who ran ads on YouTube. So I was very familiar with the YouTube sphere as well, because it was my job to be. So, I wasn't like totally YouTube illiterate. I had like my production company's stuff, I had lots of client stuff up on YouTube. But I was more on the behind the scenes part, the crew part of things versus in front of the camera. What are your hobbies outside of your channel? Right now, I joke that my hobbies are my kids, because that's kind of taking up my life right now. I have a 3-year-old, and at the time of recording this, I am still pregnant. Even though as you're seeing this come out, if you're watching it when it comes out, I'm back from maternity leave, but I'm filming things ahead of time. And so I'm in that phase of raising 2 very young children. So that just takes up a lot of my time. I know I'll have more free time after that, but my hobbies are usually, I actually like video games. I like video gaming. I like playing The Sims. I like playing Dreamlight Valley, lots of kind of like casual style games. Love watching TV, love watching movies. I'm still like a huge movie buff. Truly, a lot of my hobbies are metaphysical related things. I take classes for fun, for myself, to improve even myself as like a professional psychic, but I do it because I want to do it. Truly, I like to travel. I don't feel like that's a hobby that I can do every weekend, but I've been to several places over the years, a lot of places, and I want to keep doing that. I want to keep exploring. I am a big Disney fan. I feel like every millennial is. You can call me a Disney adult if you want. I will take it. And I love the parks. I go to the parks about every couple years. I'm going to call that a hobby. Why not? Because I go so much. I do read a lot as well. I do probably, even though I still have kids, I make time every single night to read series. I like fantasy series. I like some spicy series as well. I also really like gardening. I like, even though my husband will always say he does the majority of it, I like improving like our home, our house. I really like resonate with like the hearth witch kind of like vibes of, you know, taking care of our house, doing projects around the house, the home, the garden. And other than that, I think it's just like hanging out with family. Again, not too many like specific tiny hobbies, I would say. I used to have a lot more, but again, kids are kind of taking up a lot of that time. I used to play volleyball a lot. That was like a huge part of my life. Oh, and I used to do theater as well. So a lot of like my performing, public speaking, I gained a lot of confidence from that, from doing theater for a very, very long time. It just got very bright. Sorry, the sun is coming out. Is there a new style of content that you want to try? I kind of like where I'm at, to be honest. Like, I really like doing the how-to videos. And I really like, I do really like doing pick-a-card videos. I want to do them more. My issue with both of these things is I just need to, like, tweak my setups. These videos, like, I'm at the mercy of using natural light, and I hate that. I kind of, next year, want to, like, have more interesting backgrounds behind me. And then with the pick-a-cards, I have like a really wobbly table and wonky setup. I'd like to just improve what's there first. I do enjoy doing the vlogs as well. The most recent one was like my Salem vlog. I want to do more of those, but again, like this upcoming year, unfortunately, probably going to be just keeping at the same thing just because I'm going to have an infant for a year. I don't want to add too much to my plate, you know? All right, number 7, how do you plan out your content? Normally I try to be very open to ideas for my channel. A lot of the things that I get from my channel, I get from you guys. Either they are questions in the comments, they are my Patreon members asking me questions in the Q&A videos that we do every month, or it's that I'm doing like a coaching session and I'm like inspired by, you know, something that we worked through or talked about together. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to turn that into a video. And I will usually just get like a download of information. And I usually write them all in my phone. I always go for the notes because I like having the pen in my phones for easy access so that I could jot down my notes really quick. And then I'll take those notes. Sometimes they'll be on paper. And then I will go kind of write out like a rough script. And then basically when I sit down to plan my content, I try to film like 4 or 5 videos at once so that I'm not just like filming every week. I batch film them and then I slowly like release them. But I will just pick what inspires me the most. I'll look at my list of things and be like, ooh, that one. I want to talk about that one. And then about a week before, I kind of like write out the script more fully. I don't write it out as like a script. It's more like bullet points of like what I want to talk about, just to keep me on track and not like let myself wander. And then I will film it. And then I have a schedule. So I have it planned out for each video every 2 weeks. And I just kind of, as that week comes up, I edit each video alongside like whatever else I'm doing that week, usually readings. And then I just release them every 2 weeks. So, and I will say too, I try to give a good mix of like not too many pick-a-cards at once. I try to have it be like a little bit of talking, educational stuff, maybe one pick-a-card, one meditation mixed in. Try to like make it spaced out so it's not just like so much of one thing. There's also been like several times I've had to go on break as well. Like I went on break last year, or in 2022 because I was going on vacation. I did a maternity leave for my first kiddo. Obviously, I just went on maternity leave and I'm coming back in theory at this point. Oh, and then I last year, 2023, I took a break to also edit my massive ass psychic development masterclass course. So sometimes when that happens, when I know I have like a big thing coming up that I kind of need to put my time and energy towards, I will again film things ahead of time so that I have the stuff ready to go, and I'm not doing 200 things at once. So sometimes I do film my stuff way earlier to basically get ahead of the game. Next question, what are your tools of the trade? Example, cameras, mics, lighting, software. I am, again, very lucky in the sense that I had a production company first. So we were creating content for businesses. We were doing a lot of like advertising work here in the Denver area. So we have a really buffed out like equipment thing. Like our whole garage is filled with equipment. We actually just moved away from our studio and we had to like sell some stuff because we have so much. So I am using the most basic camera that we own. We have a lot fancier cameras, but I really like using the Sony ZV-1, I think, because it's lightweight, it's small, it's tiny, it's really fast for me to set up. All of our other cameras are big and bulky and they're really hard to use like by yourself because they're a lot like anyways, the same with our lighting. Like everything is so big and bulky, and although I could technically use it, I have a very small space in here to film. My hope is that we will move into a new house and I can set up a permanent studio. My husband and I talk about that all the time, of like if I had a basement, I could set up the lights, leave them up all the time, and it would look really professional. But I also have to like read and work in here, and I also just have like my personal things in here, so I can't like leave things set up. So I have to have things that are very like breakdownable. So I use the Sony ZV-1. I just use these little mics for my microphones. But this was honestly my father-in-law's first and he upgraded, so I inherited these, so I didn't even buy them. I use a ring light in here. Again, not what I recommend, but it gets the job done. What else do I, that's literally all I have. I've got the camera in front of me, I have a Sackler tripod, and then I've got a ring light. I will put all those in the description down below. When I'm shooting vlogs, I also have like a little mini gimbal that holds the camera. Not super happy with it. I feel like my footage for Salem was a little shakier than I'd liked. As far as software goes, my husband custom built my computer. And he custom built several of ours for our company, so our computers are super souped up. I edit actually like client stuff that's like 4K. My stuff, I don't even like go there, but I've got a custom built computer. I use Adobe software. I think I have to purchase all of the apps, so it's like 30 or 40 something dollars a month because I need Photoshop, I need Premiere, sometimes I need Encoder, sometimes I use Adobe Illustrator, I also use Adobe Acrobat, so I just use everything, honestly. I know some people on Patreon have requested me to do like an updated equipment video. I had an old one, but that was when I was using studio stuff and my studio. So let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that. I do love talking about filmmaking a lot as well. It is a passion of mine. I made a lot of short films and documentaries, and I actually won 2 student Emmys, which I don't talk about very often. Okay, number 9. As a content creator, do you experience burnout? Absolutely. If so, what does that look like for you, and how do you recover from it? I definitely experience burnout. I feel like I've adjusted my schedule and tried to really like do less and less and less over the years, so I don't experience that as much. Usually what it looks like is like I just keep going, like I just keep doing it, and it's very hard for me to pull out of that. And I feel like from your end, probably what you would see is just like sloppier videos, either sloppier edits. Sometimes I feel like just the topic that I'm talking about, it just doesn't feel well thought out. It doesn't feel like I'm really connected to it. It kind of feels like rushed because I'm just trying to like get through it. And I've gone through the periods of that, but again, I've tried to adjust. So like I don't do weekly videos anymore because I really felt like that was affecting the quality of my videos. So now I do them every other week. But yeah, ultimately I would say you can just tell that I'm like just not connected to the idea. Maybe I have a harder time like communicating it. I feel like it would be really hard to tell from the outside, but usually I'm just like, ugh, I gotta get this video done. And that's just kind of the energy that I have. I'm a little bit worse on the side of like, I don't just like give up, I just keep going and I keep running myself into the ground. But it's really nice to have like breaks. Like I do feel like going into maternity leave, I'm really excited to like take a break. And so that does happen for me every now and then. But again, most of the time it's like I'm filming all in 1 month, and then I've got like 3 or 4 months where I'm not filming and I'm just editing. And so really I'm not like touching things a whole lot. And I've realized too that if I really enjoy the content that I'm creating, I will have burnout less. And so that's something I try to do, is as I'm planning out my videos, I look at them and be like, do I really want to do this, you know? And yeah, so, and that's how I recover from it. I also recover by taking breaks. Again, prioritizing like my self-care and like just doing other things outside of work, like hanging out with my family, going out and doing things together. Just not making my life this 24/7. I just have that balance of like life, work-life balance, basically. Which video are you the most proud of and why? Oh, I should have looked through my videos first. I can say recently I'm really proud of the Salem video, just in how I made it and how it performed, especially because we were so sick. We were so sick when we were there, and I was really happy with the footage that I got. I really like making more of those like vlogs. I would say also my Sabbath series, although they're long, nobody really watched them, and I know I like blabbed a whole lot. Like I'm really proud of those because I'm kind of combining teaching with like me and my life, and I want to do more of that. Oh, well, that's not gonna work. See, that's why you don't get the ring lights and you don't use natural lighting. All right, forgive the sun and the shadows. It should be better here in a minute. But I think that I'm also really proud of my Claire's videos, because one, they were like my most popular, my old ones, and then I went and I updated them because I was like, okay, this is clearly how people are finding me, and I wasn't super proud of the old ones, and so I updated them and made them more recent, and I was really proud that they just kind of like went right up to being my most popular videos again, the new ones. So it was like, I think that was more of like a, oh, I understand my audience. I understand what you guys want and what you need. And I finally kind of like had it click, because for a long time, and I still do, I struggle with my channel because, again, it's a how-to channel technically. And so people only really find me through search. I mean, I'm definitely proud also of like my best performing videos, because a lot of them took me by surprise, but it has informed me a lot about like my audience and what you guys want to see. Like it was good to know, oh, okay, I'm finally starting to understand how this works. Number 11, who inspires you within the magical, pagan, divination YouTube community? Lots of people. And I'll kind of speak to each of those. Chloe Taylor, obviously, the one that I saw this like trend go through. She's more on the magical side, but she's also a psychic. She does like pick a card readings. And I just feel like she connects really well. And that's hard to find on YouTube. I also really like Vanessa Samina. I didn't really resonate with her readings at first, but then they kind of like really grew on me, and I like her style and I like how beautiful her videos are. Psychic Tana Newberry, she's not, I think she still posts on YouTube every now and then, but I also really like her stuff because she's also out there teaching psychic development, and she's a really good filmmaker as well. I've had a good couple conversations with her, and she's got a really cool psychic development oracle card deck. I really look up to her because she's like where I want to be in a lot of ways, and so I really like appreciate that she I don't know, it's just like I really like all the creators that are open, that are willing to connect, that aren't like gatekeepy, and are just like here to like support and help each other. and not like here to just be like, oh, don't take my viewers, don't take my, you know, like get all competitive and weird about it. I also really like Simply Witched. I think she makes really beautiful videos while also like educating, and I think that she always creates like content that I'm like, oh, I want to watch that. I want to click on that, and I'm constantly like interested in whatever she's putting up. Scarlett Ravenswood, she is a witch that I learned a lot of my witchy content from when I first started. I really like her kind of like Hellenistic stuff and approach. And then honestly, like I like following some of you guys. Like I like following some of you that are my students that have come to me for readings, and like I love seeing what you guys are putting out there as well. I don't know, I just enjoy popping in every now and then, seeing how a lot of you guys like improve your stuff, see your live streams, and kind of just like say hi every now and then, because I know that you're also out there growing this, and I love seeing that progress. There's definitely a lot more people that I think I follow, like on Instagram. I think there's a lot of good psychics out there too that I follow. But those are the ones for YouTube. So next question, what do you like and dislike about being on YouTube? I always say this, I love it for the marketing. I love that it's not just like Instagram or Facebook where you put up a post and then it's gone. Your videos continue to circulate the internet. And so it's hard when you start because nobody sees you. And you just have to hope for like randos to find you to basically get going. That's why I did a lot of like live streams at the beginning, was because I would pop up more in people's feed. But the great thing about it is that as your video gets more views, even if it's an old video, YouTuber is like, oh, people like this video, I'm going to keep putting it out to more people. And so then there's this like exponential curve that you start to see over a really long time. And it just accelerates faster and faster. And so to the point where like, okay, now I have today 7,000 some subscribers. That means 7,000 people in theory get to see my video right away when it pops up into their feed. So that's telling YouTube 7,000 people watch this right away, and awesome. And so then it keeps pushing it even more and even more. So my subscriber count is always exponential. My views are always exponential. Like, unless you're really bombing YouTube, I feel like you have to stick with the long game of it, and then you will see that growth. And so to me, the fact that a video that I made 4 or 5 years ago can be bringing people into me and seeing my content and working for me while I am sleeping, you know, that to me is huge, because in other platforms you have to pay for something like that. You have to pay for the ads. So YouTube, I think just the way it's set up is a really beneficial tool and allows a lot of people to grow their brand. That's why I love it, is just the algorithm, the way it's set up to work. Like I have maybe run like 2 or 3 ads over the course, maybe a little bit more than that, but they never worked ever over the course of my business being around. The only reason I've grown and I have become a full-time psychic is because my YouTube videos advertise me, and then people either stick around for more videos and give me views and revenue through ads, or they will book a reading with me, or they will purchase one of my courses. So it's just an amazing marketing tool that just keeps growing and growing. What I don't enjoy about it, sometimes I do feel like I'm very much stuck into a certain like niche. I don't like also how slow I've grown. I feel like most psychics out there, if they were putting out reading videos, they grow so much faster than I have. I have been on YouTube, or doing YouTube seriously, since 2019, and so that's 4 years has taken me to get to like 7,000 subscribers. That's pretty like little when you really look at some other people's channels. So to me, it's the how-to content and where it places on YouTube, not super fan of that because it basically puts me up against psychic readings, and those get like way more views than like a how-to video. So I think in some ways YouTube thinks that I'm not doing a good job, and maybe I am not, but I think that I'm so niche down that it's been very difficult to grow quickly. And so I've had to like really, really persevere and stick with it when my channel was just moving at snail's pace for so long. Anything else I dislike about being on YouTube? Maybe just like not understanding like why certain videos don't work. They try to make it so that on the back end you can understand like why a video is not working, and you can sort of figure it out, but sometimes it's still just like a total mystery. I also didn't like the YouTube memberships. That's why we're on Patreon now. YouTube memberships stunk. Number 15, what are some of the challenges and struggles you face creating on this platform, and how do you overcome them? Just to not be redundant, I think it's still the same thing of like the challenges that I face is that I'm so niche. I'm so like a specific topic. Like you have to be searching for it. You have to know what clairsentience is to like find my stuff. You have to know what these terms are. That it's very like I'm so niche down, and I've been trying to like make some of my content broader, and that has actually been working pretty well. Just changing up like how I phrase my videos. Like yes, in the video I might be talking about a super specific thing, but I'm trying to make like the titles and the thumbnails like a little bit more of a broad appeal so that it kind of gets those other people interested as well. Mostly I just kind of try to do the research and analyze the crap out of it because that's what I do as a Virgo. I know I've said that like 20 times in this video. And I just try to always like stay on top of my skills, always ask myself like where can I be improving? Could I improve my lighting setup? Yes, absolutely, on my list. Could I improve the equipment that I'm using? When I got this new camera, such an immediate boost in my videos as well. I don't know if that's a you guys thing, like you enjoy it so you stick around longer because it looks nicer, or if like YouTube somehow knows that I'm like using or I have like better quality content. I don't know. Mostly I just don't give up. I just keep going and I trust the process because I've trusted it for so long and it's only yielded good results. So I just tell myself, keep going, don't beat yourself up, improve where you can, and that's about it. 16, what is your opinion on monetization, paywalls, and other exclusive content? Example, Patreon or other membership services. I think it's useful because I don't make that much money on YouTube ads at all. Like I make under $100 right now on my YouTube ads, and because of that, like I still don't like get a payout from YouTube every month. Like you have to make 100 to get the payout. So sometimes I have to wait 2 months before it pays me out. So I think it's incredibly helpful because that's how I make my money. That's how I get paid and I can keep showing up is when people jump on over to Patreon and support me there. It's helpful when they can jump on over to my course and purchase my course, purchase a reading or a session with me. I would not be here if I could not do those things, because if I was just waiting around on YouTube ads and YouTube ads only, I would not be making nearly enough money to be able to do this. So to me, it's like, it's a necessity if you want to be a content creator and do what you love, or else you wouldn't be able to do it otherwise, in my opinion. That being said, there are people who can totally survive off of YouTube ads. My father-in-law, his channel, for example, he solely survives off of the ad revenue, but he's a very different niche that is like travel and budget travel. So he gets a lot of views, but he doesn't sell anything outside of that. And because of that, it's very different from me, where I don't get a whole lot of views, but I get a lot of conversion. I get a lot of people jumping on over to like chat with me, purchase a course, yada yada. He can make all the money he needs through his YouTube ads. So it's very different depending on like what content you're talking about. So some people might not need it and other people might. And so that's why I think it's important to have that option. 17, do you have any boundaries on this platform? Why or why not? I feel like who would answer this and be like, nope, no boundaries. Of course I have boundaries. I have boundaries with everything. I have boundaries with spirits. I have boundaries with people. I would say my boundaries are like, I make sure to not make myself like too available. Or what I mean by that is like, I don't spend all my time answering every single comment. That would take up so much of my day. If I answered every email I got, every comment, every DM, like that would just be ridiculous. Like I would spend my entire day doing it. And so that's why I have a boundary of like, look, if you really need one-on-one help, you pay for my time. We set up a session and you can talk to me all you want while we are in that session. So yeah, usually I don't answer many like DMs or emails unless people are really like trying to book something or need like technical help with like a course or something. I'm also very careful about who I let into my personal life. There are lots of people that I get to know through readings, through Patreon, and like some people that I've absolutely made friends with, but I'm also very careful to not give away too much of like my private life and private information because people can be weirdos. I try to keep like names and stuff private, addresses, like I try to be careful just in case, because you hear horror stories with YouTube of people finding people in person. I had a story one time of someone years and years ago finding my address and sending me things in the mail. And it was, you had to like really search hard to like find my address even back then. I've since even updated that. So other boundaries, I'm trying also not to show too much of my kids, because I think that that's one, a violation of their privacy and they're not giving their permission. I try to make sure that if I'm showing them, it's kind of in an educational way or like I don't ever try to make them do anything for the camera or like force them into anything. That's just, I try to be very careful. Other boundaries, I really try not to film other people, even in my vlogs, without their permission. So if you see other people in my vlogs, they have given permission. That's something I just learned from film school as well. I try to ask permission when I walk into places to film. I also just try to be very like ethical, and in my videos, even in my podcasts, I try to make sure that if I'm talking about like a reading that I had or a session that I had, I try to make sure that I change names and that I kind of give theoreticals to make sure that I'm not giving any like confidential information away. It drives me nuts, the psychics out there that will give you a very detailed reading that they gave somebody, and like just spill all of the tea from it in like a YouTube video. I think that's like a huge no-no. That's more, I see that more on TikTok though, but other than that, I also have to set boundaries like with other content creators. I do have a lot of people excited about my channel and they want to like collaborate with me or they want to do things. And I have to be careful because sometimes it's not genuine. It's just to like get views, get like subscribers, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I really try to make sure that I build a relationship with these people before just jumping into creating videos with them. I think I made that mistake often in the beginning, and it was just like we did not mesh, we did not vibe well. So like to me, I have to set boundaries with other content creators and say like, hey, let's chat first. Let's get to know each other first. Tell me about your audience. Like, let me tell you about mine. Let me tell you about me, you know, so that we are on the same page. Like, it absolutely drives me nuts when I get tagged in things that I'm not actually tagged in. Like, I'm not there, we're not doing a collaboration. I think it's like one thing to tag people to like start like a trend or like, hey, what's your opinion on this? But I don't like when content creators come in and they try to like get my attention by doing kind of these weird spammy things. Like, really don't like that. I really like genuine connections, and I know that takes longer to build. But I appreciate the people that take the time to do that. Other than that, obviously I have to have boundaries from the weirdos. Unfortunately, lots of men, and a lot of like really religious people. Like in the comments, if you leave anything that's like hate speech, anything that's mean, negative, derogatory, I'm instantly deleting that. I see every YouTube comment that comes through, even if I don't like respond to every single one of them. I have to have boundaries of like people that contact me, that try to get onto Patreon without paying, that try to like, I don't know, cross some boundaries in readings or like kind of like virtually stalk me. So that's kind of like the obvious thing too that I have to like set boundaries with. unfortunately that happens being a woman and being so public. That is, I would say, going back to that other question, that's one of the downsides of doing this, is you have to understand that you are putting yourself out there, and that's, you're going to get that hate speech, you're going to get the troll comments, you're going to get all of that stuff. So you have to like be able to handle it, but also like set boundaries with it. 18, do you have any current goals for your channel? Current goals for my channel. Truly, I feel like after I got monetized, I was just happy. I was like, that's all I wanted. My goals are just to keep growing, like to be on the positive growth, even if it's like a little bit. I can deal with a little bit because I was there for so long, but to me, I just want to keep hitting those like sub milestones. I mean, right now, I would love to get to 10,000 people, and then probably my next goal, I'm gonna forget about analytics till I get to like 100,000, because I think it would be really cool to have a YouTube plaque. My father-in-law got his YouTube plaque at 100,000, and it got mailed to our house because he travels a lot, and I got to like see it and like touch it, and I was like, oh, I would love one. But really my goals are just to keep going at it and not burn myself out. I would say more on the back end, I would love to be able to like make enough money to hire an editor to edit my videos so I could take that off my plate, so all I'm doing is like filming and then they're editing. No, I'd say more of my goals are like course goals. Like I have courses I want to create. I want to make podcasts. I want to make an Oracle deck one day. I've got an idea for it that has fallen through the ground so many times that I just kind of said, all right, universe, I'll let it go, but if it happens kind of thing. So more of my goals are like the paid content outside of my YouTube channel that I would really want to create. Because again, that's like what makes me more of my revenue, more of my income. I'm also wanting to create certifications as well for my students. So that is something also on my to-do list. What are some of those mistakes you've made and how did you fix them? So many mistakes. With YouTube specifically, I would say that in the beginning, it was just not knowing what I was doing. Like I was creating content about like I would just talk to you about life and like how, like I would give you kind of channeled messages in a way. And then I would talk about psychic ability stuff, and then I would do readings, and it was just like a messy mishmash. I would interview other psychics. I'm trying to think. Like I just didn't have like what is the core of my content, which the answer to that now is like I'm teaching psychic stuff. I'm teaching psychic development. And so now any video that I create, I'm like, how do I relate it back to that? How do I make it fit into this theme so people are not like, what is this? This has nothing to do with what she normally does. That was the biggest mistake I made for a long time, was just trying all the different content. Like I would do a lot of review videos on products. Again, people wouldn't really like those. I would do a lot of vlogs, did like a pregnancy vlog, and I tried to wrap intuition into it. And it, maybe it would work now, and maybe it was just that I was starting, but I feel like all my content was just way too scattered. It was too confusing. I don't know how I fixed them other than just like watching my analytics and realizing, oh, this is what's doing well. And then just kind of like looking at my channel from an outside viewer and realizing, okay, what am I putting out there? I'm putting out a lot of different things that are confusing. And I think it was like Sunny De La Ruzzi. She was like a YouTube person. I don't see her stuff hardly anymore. But she was like, pick three things that you're really like, this is what I sell. This is what I'm all about. I'm about YouTube. I'm about monetizing on YouTube, like whatever she was. And so that was helpful because I was like, okay, I need to narrow down what I'm talking about, because I'm doing how to, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and all these other things that just don't fit in here. So narrowing it down, niching down was how I fixed it. But now I would argue I'm so niched down, I'm still hard to find. However, it's still working in my favor. It's still that exponential curve. So 20, what are some of the ways your channel has grown since your first video? I would say much better like quality. I was filming on my phone, even though back then I still had all of this fancy equipment. I was doing too much. I was in school. I was working many different types of jobs, and so I didn't want to like take a whole day to set up and film. I didn't script my videos back then. I was filming inside my home in my bedroom, which was tiny. I had like a bad background. I mean, I was doing things half-assed, and you could tell. And now I try to take the extra time to like do it a little bit better, like even put myself together more, make sure my background's decorated, put on jewelry, do my nails, like I know that's all very like visual stuff, but like even my equipment, writing out the scripts ahead of time, spending a bit more time on the editing. I didn't really research a whole lot of YouTube stuff back then, but again, with time, I always kind of check like, okay, what are we doing with cards? What are we doing with descriptions? What are we doing with titles? I use like TubeBuddy a lot now. I didn't really use that before. I really spend more time on my thumbnails. I utilize Canva for that. Before I wouldn't even take, like at the end of each of these videos, I have to like pose, and like that way I give myself a couple thumbnails. Like I didn't do that before. So all of my videos at the beginning were just like whatever YouTube chose as the thumbnail. So I'd be like, bah, you know. Again, I have more of an understanding of what my audience wants, who I am, what content I want to create. I also feel like I am way more confident in the way I speak. Like I cringe when I watch those older videos because I feel like my voice is higher. I don't know. And I do know that that's a thing, just being in the film like community. Often when you like talk or do like any sort of speaking, usually you tone up your voice a lot higher than it actually is. And so when I also heard that, I was like, you know, I'm gonna not, hi guys, blah, blah, blah. Like I would often talk like that. I just try to now talk at like my normal pace. Where did I see that? That was a YouTube video that I saw, that it was also something about like people trusting you more when you actually like go down in your voice. Another way that I've grown is my hair. Every thumbnail you look at, my hair is like wildly different. And I really despise the period of time when I was growing out my balayage, because you see my blonde streaks get lower and lower, and I'm like, why didn't I just color it sooner? I really like my hair darker now. I don't like how blonde I was, and it wasn't until I became, like, this is my natural color, it wasn't until I fully did it that I would look back and I realized how bad that blonde looked on me. 21, have you ever wanted to quit making videos? Why or why not? Yes. Towards the beginning, I wanted to quit because I was not seeing the results. I was not getting analytics that I liked. I was putting out things and it was like every video was performing worse than the next. Or it was like all the videos I was super proud of were just not performing that well. But what I didn't realize back then was just there wasn't enough eyeballs to see my stuff. It had nothing to do with what I was creating. Well, maybe it did, just in like quality and my own confidence and all of that. But I just realized, you know, it'll get there, and it did get there. And my videos were not bad back then. I was impatient, you know. Anytime I feel that way now, I just feel like it's because I'm burnt out, and I'm usually able to recognize that. But really I wanted to quit it when it wasn't making me like any money. And that's what's hard, is like when you're trying to be a creator and you love the content, you love what you're talking about, but you're spending like 9 hours a day on it and you're getting nothing in return, and you have to really look at it like cost benefit analysis. How much time am I putting in and what am I getting in return? And at some point you get so broke that you're just like, I can't keep doing this. And so that was always difficult for me because I was always working and doing something else at the same time of these videos. So it was really, I was just burnt out. But I really enjoyed making the videos. I've always enjoyed making the videos. And I think that's what's kept me going for so long, is that I truly enjoy this content, and I truly enjoy like talking about the psychic ability and teaching about it. Like I always get so excited when I sit down and I'm like, yes, we're talking about this. But I think it would have been a lot harder if I hated what I was doing or hated what I was talking about. And I think that's why you see like often a lot of YouTubers, they start in like a certain niche or genre and then they switch. and they lose a lot of people, and it's scary, but they end up being a lot happier because they enjoy what they're doing more. But yeah, I mostly wanted to quit just because I was always feeling like burnout, but that was because I was just doing too much because I had to, because I was in survival mode and I had to like pay the bills. 22. What do you wish you knew before starting your YouTube channel journey? I wish I would have known that I was not going to grow as fast as everyone said I was. And that's mostly the YouTuber people. And I think the YouTubers that talk about YouTube, they grow way faster than most like genres. Like you can look it up. I think finance is a travel, YouTube. Like there's like top genres that just get a lot more views. And so people that start channels in those areas, I think real estate is also one. They're gonna skyrocket way faster than most. Like my father-in-law and I started our channels at the same time, same year, and he's at, how many subscribers is he at? He's at 127 subscribers, 27,000, and I'm at 7,000. And so that just goes to show how much that like genre influences things. And so again, like all these YouTube people go viral overnight, and they're like, oh, that's all you gotta do. You just gotta make one video and you're good. And like I've never had anything go viral. Nothing ever go viral. And I wish someone would have told me that. Like I've had videos that are popular and they gain more traction very slowly. Like my automatic writing video, that's like my #1 most viewed video. But it didn't happen overnight. And because of how niche I am, and because I'm a how-to channel, a lot of that same advice did not apply to me. So I guess that's what I wish I would have known, is that like, don't compare yourself to these other creators because it's not going to be as quick as them. 23, do you post on any other platforms? Yes, I I'm on Facebook. That's mostly for our group there for psychic development practice. I'm on Instagram. It's probably the second most place I post. Patreon, actually that's the second most place, because Patreon gets a lot more content. They get a lot of extra videos every month from me. Patreon is a monthly subscription that you can cancel at any time. But basically you're gonna get early access to my videos. We also have a monthly psychic development Q&A where you can ask me any questions that you have. We also have a monthly psychic development game night where you can practice reading others. I also provide a monthly reading night on YouTube where I read all of my Patreon members. And you also get a monthly reading of the upcoming energy of that month. You can join Patreon anytime using the link in the description. I am on, like, my website, obviously. I post like blog posts, and then I've got courses that I come out with on Udemy. Oh, and then I have a podcast. I kind of neglected it this year, but the podcast also has some content up as well. And all of those you can find in my link tree. 24, do you have any advice for those wishing to create a channel? I feel like hopefully you listen to some of these other questions, because my biggest piece of advice is like, don't compare yourself to other creators. Also, don't compare yourself to me, especially if you're a reader, because I feel like readers, if all you're putting out is like readings and advice for people to consume, they're gonna watch that more than they're gonna watch like a how-to video. So I do think you could grow faster than me. And other advice, if you want to grow fast, like try to collab with people to kind of boost that growth, and then also just understand that it's going to take time. You might have to have a side job until it gets to a point where you can like actually do it full time. And then another piece of advice is like create avenues of income. I talk about this in my masterclass course. Like there's a section at the end that's all about building your business. But to me, like you have to like not, again, solely rely on those YouTube ads. You need to have something else you can sell. You need to have like readings. Like think of all the things I sell. I sell readings, I sell courses, I sell coaching sessions with me. I have all sorts of avenues of income. Patreon, the membership, that I'm just bringing in little bits from here and there, and they all kind of gradually grow as more people find me through YouTube. I haven't had any like sponsorships yet. Like I would like to do that one day, but again, think about all the different ways that you can make money, and don't niche yourself into one thing. Like an example of that is like during the pandemic, I was able to really be okay because I was doing online readings. However, if you were only doing in-person readings and you were wanting to suddenly do online ones, it might have been like harder for you to get that going. Or just like thinking about it from like a filmmaker's perspective, we in our film business lost a lot of work during the pandemic, and you know, we couldn't film in person literally anymore, and so we had to come up with other ways to sell things, and it was mostly just editing, and it wasn't enough. And so you want to like have, again, different revenues, different avenues of income, so that if one of them doesn't work, or if one of them is slow for a particular month, you have something else to rely on. And like I even say within readings, like don't just offer one type of reading. Like I feel like a lot of people put up 30-minute session, 1-hour session, and that's all they have. But like, what about the people that want like just one question? Like, can you make that available to them? Like, can you sell physical products? Could you sell readings? Like I started making like pre-made readings, which are readings where I come up with the questions for you, and it's like a fun theme. And people really like that as well, because they're like, oh, well, I want a reading, but I don't have questions to fill 30 minutes. So you kind of always have to think ahead of like, what would my clients want? So it's this balance of like, what does my audience want and what do I want to create? And you kind of have to do a balancing act of that. Ultimately though, don't give up. If I can do it and become full-time after 6 years, you probably can as well. But hopefully faster. 25 says, who will you tag in this video? I don't want to tag anybody because, again, I get so annoyed when people do that to me. So tag yourself. If you want to do this, go ahead. I give you permission. You can say I tagged you. Really, the only people I would tag are the people who've already done it. So, well, thank you all for watching. I hope for those of you who are YouTubers, content creators, readers, that you found some of this insightful. If you have any questions about anything I said, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. But other than that, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. That's always helpful. And I will see you in my next one. Alrighty, bye.